Hello everyone and welcome to Get to Palooza. Today my son Carl and I are going to play a 71-point game. His brand new Syndicate army versus my brand new Savage Wave army. We both have limited figures painted. He's going to play everything he's got, which is why we are playing 71 points, because it comes out to an odd number of points. And I'm going to be playing models plus a card to get to 71. So we're just doing simple things. We're doing the 3 idols, simple influence every other turn. And we're using the lava board with all kinds of entertaining crystals and bridges and stuff on it. So we'll see how that goes. I'll be back in just a second with the armies. Here's my 71-point Savage Wave army. It starts with Zuba, who has the Horns of Power. Boba, my archery support. Kano, who is turning out to be pretty much of a beast. I like Kano. And the Kappa, you know, with the models I have painted, I don't have much to make up a small amount of points, so I just took the Ronin Kappa. And I have practiced with this army a couple of times. I haven't filmed it, but it's turned out okay. So I think it's a pretty good list. Let's take a look and see what the Syndicate looks like. All right, here we have Carl's Syndicate army. Carl, why don't you take it away?
Manu, the Sumo, Tsubaki, the Rose, Harukichi, who is Oyabun, he's a support guy. This is Wasapu, he's an archer, and this is Senpu, he's a melee dude.
All right, so you've got 5 models at 71 points. Very nice paint jobs, looking good. Excited to see you get that whole set finished up. Here we are after deployment. Sorry for the ruckus in the background. So I won the roll, so I asked Carl to deploy first. As you can see, he's kind of spread himself across the back. His nasty archer is over there. That can be devastating. And the rest of his forces are kind of spread from the sumo in the middle all the way to the swordsman on the left. These are the idols, including one that's on top of the huge pile of rocks. And then in my case, I put my Savage Wave proper guys are all over here in a group. And then the Kappa is kind of operating on his own. He does have Scout, which is why he's forward. So there we go. That's how the board looks after deployment. We will see you at the end of turn 1. Here we are at the end of turn 1. Both sides moved up pretty aggressively. My Oni are all moving up on this objective here, trying to stay together so they can support one another. The Kappa and the Rose both ran up to the idol. However, the Kappa was able to engage the Rose in combat, made his test because she's disguised. And managed to grapple her with a grapple attack and not only hit her on the 0, but it was enough to get the grapple, which is a hold. And then at the end of the turn, or the end of the round, it's 2 points of damage. So right now she's held. She's down 2 points. She's getting support though. There's a swordsman coming charging up the back, and the archer over here is about to interact and turn that idol to their favor this turn. And then in the middle, Manu is coming through the center. So things are about to get really interesting. We shall see how it goes. At the moment, the score is 0-0. It is the end of turn 2. And first blood was scored by the Kappa, who managed to take an early activation and attack the Rose while she was still held, putting her at a disadvantage, and he managed to just do enough to kill her. And then he got attacked in the back by the swordsman. However, due to some unfortunate rolling on Carl's part, the swordsman didn't do anything. So those two are just kind of in a stalemate. They haven't hurt each other. This is all maneuvering. I managed to influence that idol there in the middle. Boba did with his second action. Zuba got up on that rock precipice to give some fire support with his hammer. And then these two are playing cat and mouse with Manu coming on over the bridge and Kano saying no and running away. So there we go. We have a tie because the archer over here turned that idol to Carl's advantage. So he's got one idol, I have one idol, and that one is still neutral. So at the end of turn 2, we are tied 1-1. Here we are at the end of turn 3. There has been some more fighting up here. Nothing really substantial. The Kappa and the swordsman are just kind of belly bouncing at this point. However, we're both getting support. The archer's come up and now has his hands on this otherwise neutral idol. So I'm sure he's going to turn it, which means I'll have to spend 2 activations to turn it, assuming I can clear this out. And then Zuba ran up to the top of the hill. He's not in combat yet with the swordsman, but since the swordsman doesn't have a zone of control when he's in combat, Zuba could move up. Basically, that's where he could get, and I could fit the figure because the base is so big. So that went on up there, and then down here, nothing happened. I've just been running around basically trying to have my Oni show occupy the sumo without actually having to fight him. So I have been shooting him up a little bit, so I think I got him down to about half his wounds by Boba throwing skulls at him, but that's about it. End of turn 4, we've had some major casualties. Zuba was taken down over here by the archer, who wasn't in base-to-base with anybody, and at close range against a large target or a huge target, it's just devastating. He gets 2 shots, he was doing 6 damage per shot, and that's even after my toughness, so he was basically doing 7 per shot. So, you know, at this archer being able to throw multiple times, now granted he had a lot of support, Carl spent a lot of ki between the support character and him, but you know, to take Zuba out in effectively 1 shooting phase is, I don't even think, that's something my big archer from my TENGU, Bizembo, who's a 24-point character, couldn't do. And this guy did it easily. And could do it again, because he could do it he could do this twice, 2 shots in a turn. So that was really impressive. And that brought Carl back into the game pretty well. And until the very next turn when, if you remember, Manu was down here and came in and attacked Kano, and Kano just continues to impress. Of course, I'm getting some good dice rolls, and Carl's getting some bad dice rolls, and that, you know, but it's a dice game, so you have to kind of throw that under the bin. But Kano successfully not only defended himself, but he smashed Manu, and now it is a 2-turn race, because we are at the end of turn 4. Nobody has scored any victory points to this point, so there's only 1 victory point to be had in this game. And right now, I have this one, and it's pretty uncontested. Carl's got this one, it's completely uncontested. Nobody's got this one, and it is, at least for the time being, contested. And then Carl's got his support character kind of threatening to come up, but this guy is not a combat guy. So if he gets in with either the Oni, it's probably going to end badly for him. So it really becomes a race, can one of my ogres or Oni show get to either this objective or this objective and turn it in 2 turns? Or can one of these guys actually win this combat clean and then have a free hand to turn the center objective? So it's a little crazy. You know, it seems like I am definitely winning, and when it comes to points of figures left on table, I'm definitely winning. However, that's not what's important in Bushido. It's you know, who can manipulate the objectives the best. So it'll be, and then because of the way the table's designed, it is really congested. I mean, Kano has to wait for him to move, and then he's got to go up on difficult terrain, and then he's effectively blocked off almost. He has to go up in difficult terrain, down in difficult terrain, if he wants to try to get through to this other objective. And of course, Boba has got to deal with him, and he's got all this difficult terrain to go up and over, and then maybe get to here, and then it all depends on how this washes out. Right now, he's held. That's my biggest advantage, is now that because he's held, we're still in combat, so I can't activate the objective or interact with it. So this is still going to be a draw until one of the two of us passes away. But the rest of this is kind of a mess, but it's an interesting mess. So, all right, here we are at the end of turn 5. Actually, this is several days after the end of turn 5. What happened is we finished turn 5, and something happened, and I wasn't sure whether the game actually ended or not. So I put out a query on the boards, which some of you may have seen, and in the meantime left the game up so I could do the final sequence. Unfortunately, the game got put away while I was sleeping. So what I thought I would do is explain to you what happened using the still from the last segment of the last game. This is actually just a piece of the video that I put up on the computer. So in turn 5, what happened is that Boba here and the support guy ended up fighting, and Boba killed him. And then the Kappa ended up fighting and struggling and effectively killing the archer and I'm sure removing the golden snitch from his bunghole. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to read up on your Kappa lore. But anyway, so I killed both of his models in turn 5. Now at this point in the game, this is still his, this is still nobody's, and that one is still mine. So it was a draw up until this point. At turn 4, it was 0-0. And I didn't know what happened if the game ended before a tying turn under the new rule set. I knew what happened in the old rule set, but I wasn't sure in the new rule set, and I looked in the rules, and I couldn't find it. I'm sure it's there somewhere. Anyway, so what happens is nobody scores at last point. So the game at turn 5 ends because I wiped out the last of the Syndicate models, and nobody scores the third point. So we end up with a 0-0 tie, and that's how the game ends. Thank you, everyone, for joining us once again. Sorry for the rather weird little summary of turn 5, but that's what you get sometimes, you know, amateur operation. So I hope you enjoyed this anyway, and we will see you next time on Gitsapalooza.